when you do an effect sequence like that, so much is fake in that frame that you almost have to use magician's tricks, where I don't know if this is true, but I've been told that other than about the area of your thumbnail at arm's length, you're legally blind outside of that area. So if you can predict where the eyes are going to be in a frame, you could concentrate your efforts onto those areas and allow the brain, the best visual effects tool is the brain of the audience.
Yeah.
They will stitch those things together and make it make sense. But that was shot in a parking lot in Downey. There were no real race cars.
I'm not listening, John. You're destroying my religion.
And there was CGI. I never was in Monaco. Most of those cars weren't in Monaco. There were doubles, stunt doubles, for every character, and not to mention electricity and the suit and all those things. So we're constantly calculating where we think the audience's eye is going to be and how to attract the eye to that area, and prioritizing within the shot what you could fake. So like you can't fake because of, I guess, the brain part that recognizes faces. Why motion capture sometimes doesn't work well is this little triangle where the audience is extremely sophisticated at reading that. And so I don't CGI this area. I'm doing Jungle Book now. Almost everything else is CGI, not the face, because I know that you're going to see me lying.
And that's the technique they used in Gravity, isn't it?
In Gravity, it was
photographic faces.
And everything else is CG. Same thing with physics, I've noticed, is that we've become so good at understanding physics. Everybody here's an expert. So anything that was flipping or flying through the air or rolling or cartwheeling, those were all real cars that we would shoot off of hydraulics or air rams, because you knew how that tire was going to bounce. So there are a few things that I make sure I do real, but there's a lot of stuff. The crowd, there was no crowd there. Those stands were empty. There were no boats. There was no water. We added buildings. We had sprites of people in the parking lot of a visual effects company that are put into the boats to make
You're
it
like
look
a giant puppet, aren't you?
Yeah,
it's
a big
master,
puppeteer. And a puppet too, which is why I'm scared. I don't want that scanner to go to the studios. They're going to make me recut my movie. They said people aren't paying attention here.
Okay. Now, this heat blob is made up of the gaze of 10 people. Now, the bit which is in color is the center of your attention that John was talking about. The only bit you can see in high detail. Over in the periphery, they're not seeing any of these details.
Look how fake all that looks on the sides.
Yeah. But that's the thing, only when you watch it on the 10th time do you notice it, because your eyes are locked on to the features, the faces, the motion.
The problem is people do look 10 times now.
Yeah, they do.
Because you have DVD, you didn't have that before.
Crash. So the only time you get a lot of divergence is when there's no motion or where there's no people. If you've got a face, you can predict exactly where people are going to look. And this means that you can do other things in the periphery if you just want to minimize your image.
So everything that you're looking at is real, and everything that you're not looking at is fake. So I'm doing good.
Good job. So I think the intuition that you have, and Walter has already talked about, for me as a vision scientist, is just immensely insightful.
It's more like a huckster, actually.
It doesn't matter. You've been doing it for over 100 years. Magicians have been doing it for centuries. But the scientists are gradually getting these tools. Like this tool to produce this heat map of your gaze as quickly as we did today has only been around for about 2 years. So we're now developing the techniques that we can actually test some of these theories. And it means that the marriage between us can be so informative.
Yeah. Another thing I should mention, too, is the process that Walter was discussing. When you're doing an effect sequence, you have to turn the stuff over to get it into the works, because the pipeline is so long to get the effects done that you're turning over your cut of sequences before you've seen it finished or got a sense of any aspect of it when it looks organic at the end of the process. So you're having to guess what that cut's going to be. And it's very expensive per frame, so it's very hard to go back and change it. And it's hard to make that sit in a film so it feels like an organic editing process where you can feel where the cut's going to be and use your gut. You have to calculate a lot more and use a different part of your intuition.
Yeah.